All right. Let me share my screen here. Is it say I'm sharing?
No.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Ignore me. It's technology. It's the first time I've ever used it. So welcome everyone to our March 2nd TNT on Prom. My name is Brian Verserio, and I am the president of the IDSA from Deerfield High School. And move forward on this thing. Oh, here we go. Sorry.
I told you it's hard.
I know it is hard.
Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Sally Phillip. I'm the president-elect. I'm the activities director at Hinsdale Central. And we're also glad to have you here for our prom night.
So we are, first I wanted to show this. The group doesn't even know I had it. This was all of us in 2018 at CATA. CATA is the California Activities Directors Convention. And here we are in 2018, a bunch of us that went from Illinois. And if you ever have nothing to do, look up CATA, California Activities Directors. It's probably the greatest place you'll ever go because it is all activities directors and sponsors and several days of either being in San Diego or Reno and just kind of learning from each other and kind of a place where you get to discuss activities and just activities, and it's a blast and so much fun.
You get to dress up like this.
And you get to dress up like this. So just kind of like right here, we wanted to put this up here because it's the current IDPH guidelines, Illinois Department of Public Health. So this is of February 3rd. There's lots of talk that things are changing, but we know that a lot of schools are going by these guidelines. So just so you know that they're here and what some of us are planning around right now and that what some of us are kind of hoping for the future. And hopefully that this will change a little bit as well. So exec board members are going to share, kind of talk about what's been going on at their schools. And then we will leave it open for questions at the end and for discussion, kind of like what we did the last time when we were all together. This is being recorded, and then the recording and the slideshow will be on our website tomorrow, hopefully sometime. Usually Ted can get it up in the morning, but we'll see. As soon as possible, it'll be up tomorrow. We are going to start with Batavia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shelby Gages. I'm the activity director at Batavia High School. And this is what we are currently doing. We are in our planning phase. And my student council sponsors, the principal, and myself have met several times recently to kind of put this together. But I just want to note that we're totally in the planning phase still. So this is what we anticipate will go out to students by March 15th. So we're going to meet next week to solidify things and then get this information out. We're planning an on-campus event for sure. We're planning a senior only event for sure. And we want it to be formal optional. What we kind of did was polled our seniors ahead of time to see, you know, if you could do this dream bag, what would you want? And it was just several questions, and kind of we saw from the results that they really want to dress up. They want it to be together. And so we're going to try and make it happen. So aside from that, an on-campus event with seniors, we're going to try and do stations. We're typically at the Museum of Science and Industry for our prom. And so we're kind of going with that same idea of having different stations. So for food, we might do local restaurants or food trucks. And then a station would be photo opportunities, and a station would have a DJ. And so that's kind of our ideas right now. We're going to go for the outdoor event. And if we have to, we'll move it inside and have a backup plan ready.
Thank you so much, Shelby. As we're kind of going through this, if you have a question, you can put it in the chat if you think you're going to forget about it, but don't worry, we will all, exec board members will all be here and will be available at the end. So you can also wait to save it for discussion at the end, because some of us are going to be talking about some of the same things or different things you might have. Other things might come up. Grays Lake Central and North High School.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deanna Repp. I'm the activities director at Grays Lake Central and Grays Lake North. And so the information I have here is really a mix of what the two campuses are working on. We are still in the planning process. Students do not know exactly what's going to be happening. We just did our poll as well. We did a survey last week. And similar to Batavia, like their goals are to dress up and have an event where as many of them can be together as possible. We are looking to do an outdoor event where they can be dressed up. We are also doing seniors only. The biggest things right now that are in the planning process is we aren't going to be allowing dancing at this point. And so if kids are coming, what are we going to have them do? And so we've been asking students, what would you want to participate in while being dressed up? So we've brought up a musician, a comedian, band, large outdoor games. There's a bunch of companies that offer human foosball, mini golf that they bring to your campus. So we have some quotes from those companies to figure out what we can do while dressed up, because the students don't want to have to go home and change. So that's an option. And then also lots of photo opportunities with backdrops. They will have their masks on the entire time. We will have our whole list of COVID protocols, and we are also following the same guidelines that Brian mentioned and paying attention to those numbers. So our groups are in groups of 50. We're working with local restaurants to have box dinners. So as they're walking into that section of the school, whether it's the parking lot or the football field or athletic stadium, different places where they're going to pick up their box and go to their assigned table. And we'll have things either around the theme or color coded to make sure that we're able to keep the kids in their groups. And then they just pick up their box and go. That should hopefully help the food part, but food was important to them. They wanted food at this event. And if we're doing outdoor dining, my administration was in support of that. So that helped. But we do have a number of students that don't feel safe. So, and we want to be able to offer them an opportunity as well. So my awesome prom planners have come up with a take-home prom option that they're working on, where students, if they're not coming, still can get an experience. So they might be able to take home a bag of things where it's the same, favor that all the students that are coming to prom would get. Maybe making a playlist that represents their senior class, providing them the same menu with the same restaurants that are providing the prom dinners. So that's still in the works. None of this is set in stone. We have students on the committee helping make those decisions, as well as prom planners at both buildings. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, just still getting information on what the students want and what we're able to do to keep them safe.
We don't always all get to talk, and your take-home prom thing, I love it. That's a really great idea.
My prom planners came up with that like in November, when we were just assuming we could not have a prom. And so we're all planners, and we didn't want to have this event get canceled like last year. So that was just an idea that came up, and now we're almost treating it like hybrid class. Some of the kids are here, some of them aren't.
Cool. Thank you, Deanna. Appreciate it. Let's see who's next. Hinsdale Central. Ooh, look at your little map there.
I know you like that. It's not
So
really to
fancy.
scale or like all that fancy, but just kind of picture that. We surveyed, I have a link there, so we'll share this presentation. It'll be on our website. We surveyed all of our seniors and asked what they wanted. They wanted a formal event. They wanted it to be prom like it was, but we're willing to be flexible with that. But their main goal was to have all the seniors together. So initially we had planned for something inside where they would sign up in half-hour time slots and rotate through. with a DJ and like photo areas in our gym, and then move on to our auditorium with a mind reader show. And the kids just, they really were apprehensive about that. So talking to a couple other schools and people in our conference, came up with this kind of like roaming prom idea. So we're going to use our track, and that's a picture of our track there. And it's hard to read on this, but we're going to do, if we're allowed, we are going to do a 2-hour event on our original prom date. I didn't want to mess with dates. I wanted to keep it all the same because that's what was in their planners and what people had planned for, where there will be a DJ playing non-danceable music. We're not going to dance, and we're not going to have any food, but the DJ will be playing music in our stadium. We'll still have the mind reader. He's going to be under a tent with 50 seats and do a show every 15 minutes. And so we'll release that schedule of what all the shows he's doing. And we'll have some photo stations. And then I've been working with our PTO and our boosters, and they've come up with about 100 raffle baskets. And that's their goal, is to get about 100 raffle baskets. So the kids will get pre-printed tickets when they walk in. They'll get 10 pre-printed tickets that have their name and ID number on them. And then they can roam through the prom or through the
All right.
track. It's okay. And select which baskets they want to put their tickets in to be selected for winning those. I stole the idea from Brian and Lisa about the putting their names on rocks. So we're going to have like a senior memory project area where they will write, sign their rocks, and then we'll do a rock garden. And then this winter, when we thought we were going to be able to do an event, but the numbers got really bad, we had planned for this Polar Express event. And so I'd already paid for this trackless train that was going to take kids around the track. So there will be a train station area, and they will be able to take a ride around the track in this train, and about 6 people go. It's 1 person per car. So they're distanced enough from each other. And then they'll be able to see everybody too as they're riding the train. If we cannot have the entire senior class there at one time, we will adapt to that and do time slots for that same event. And then my big worry is rain. So we picked Sunday, the next day, to be our rain date. And the kids have all agreed if we can't do it Saturday or Sunday, then we will cancel this. I do want to give them a favor, and so that they have like something to carry around with them with their raffle tickets and stuff. So they'll get a bag. They need a deck of playing cards for the mind reader, and we'll of course give them the raffle tickets and something else in their bag. And we're trying to be thematic and charge $21 a student to go. So again, still in the planning and approval process, but we're thinking it's doable, hopefully by May.
Nice. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate it.
Sure.
I love your trackless train. That's kind of fun. We just got our track redone. We're lucky we can walk on it right now. So I don't think that could ever
Ours
happen.
just got redone too, but we've been approved to do it. So we did that through playground games.
Fun. Nice. So Deerfield and Highland Park. So I'm from Deerfield, and Lisa Friedrich is on here. You want to say hi, Lisa? Probably like no.
Hello, everyone.
Lisa Friedrich is the Student Activities Director at Highland Park, and we work very closely together. And so we are working kind of on our prom together right now. So a message is going out to parents and students probably this week about graduation and prom and kind of the things that are happening. And the message that's going to be sent about prom is right now, it's not going to look the same. And we're going to be surveying the seniors to find out what are things that are, what is important to them. So we created this survey that basically says, number one, are you interested in some sort of prom event? We basically know that answer, but it's always helpful to kind of ask. And then the second thing is, what is important? What is the most important thing to you? And then we've listed several different items. And so for tomorrow, when we put this up, I can even link the survey on here for everyone. But it's everything from, do you want it to be dressy to casual? Is dancing important to you? Is food an important part? Is the whole group important? As much people that we can get together? Or do you want it in smaller groups? Like, what would you be most comfortable with? So we're basically asking them after the first one of, is this something you want to do? There's basically 3 more questions. What's the most important thing to you? What's the second? And what's the third? It's just interesting, as the 20 plus people that are on our exec board, we have found that what could be so important to a Deerfield kid is so not important in the opposite at Vernon Hills. And then is even in the other direction at Hinsdale Central. And so even though we're not all far away from each other, kids just have a different focus and what do they want. So we just felt like right now, the only thing that we really could plan and put together was what is most important to them. Our focus right now is trying to do something on campus if we can, and it really being about the class of 2021. We don't have any real hard set rules yet, but just that it's going to be about a night about them. Lisa, did I forget anything that you would want?
You did awesome.
Great. Lake Forest High School.
Hi, so I'm Ashley Malik. I'm the Student Activities Director at Lake Forest. We have been working on this for a while now, and so we've got a pretty set plan based on our kids. Since last year, obviously got canceled for everyone, we've kind of created this joint effort between the seniors this year, what they really wanted to see last year, and the juniors kind of bringing that idea to life. So we do have an outdoor event. We are going to have our students individually seated for a box dinner. One of the priorities of our students was having a meal and sharing that at a communal table. They really wanted to sit down together. So our tables are only for 4 students because that's how we could fit students 6 feet apart. But we'll have our students sign up how they do for typical tables and break them into groups of 44 students rotating around. And then we'll start them with the red carpet. They'll walk out to the tents, eat dinner, and then rotate to a s'more station. And then our DJ and Instagram museum will be our joint space where something to do. We're not saying students can't dance, but if they dance while being 6 feet apart, then they can dance, but we won't have a set dance floor. So we are looking to cut way back on what our ticket prices are, just to realize that this is a pandemic and finances sometimes can be tight, and we don't feel like our front lawn is necessarily something for a $95 ticket. And then obviously if capacities increase, like Brian talked about, like that's kind of the goal of everyone, is if we have just a little more wiggle room. We have already talked about moving up to groups of 100 students. It'll actually be technically 98 based on our groupings. And then flexibility with our timing structure. So our kids will be on campus for 2 hours. They'll eat for 45 minutes. Then they have the rest of that time to kind of float between the s'mores and the DJ and Instagram. A little less constrained on like, okay, rotate at this time, and a little more like you just have 2 hours on campus on this side and we have a group on this side. And as long as you guys stay to your sides, you can kind of flow around in those areas. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. S'mores. All right, Libertyville High School.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jen Ulix, and I'm the activity director at Libertyville. So we too are in the initial planning stages. So this is all up in the air, but we will be doing a junior senior prom. We have surveyed our students to see what, we asked them a bunch of questions. Did they want a formal event, which they said they did, how long of an event they would like, and similar to the other schools, what sort of experiences would they like to see? So in our initial planning, we're thinking about keeping groups of 50, similar to the other schools, who will travel around what we're calling prom experiences. We are planning to do it in the building we are really landlocked. We don't have a ton of outdoor space on our campus, and it's super risky. So we're feeling like we want to plan in our building um, for a 2 to 2.5 hour time frame. And in order to accommodate a lot of kids, we're thinking about staggered arrivals, but also doing like dual track planning. So, for example, we might have two groups of 50 experiencing similar things in two different spaces in our building. And then we would transition to a rotation schedule where they would experience three different things. So some of those things might include walking the red carpet, similar to Lake Forest, where there would be photo opportunities. Maybe that would take place outside, inside if it rains. Doing some sort of space where we'd have interactive games where we could keep kids safe and socially distant. Um, Thinking about a black light something with maybe a lounge. The kids expressed that they just wanted to hang out, and we could put music in that space. Our kids are fans of silent disco, and if anyone wants to ask a question about that, if you're unfamiliar what that is, we can answer that at the end. Um, and so we're really kicking around different ideas on what we can do within our rotation. So our cost is to be determined because we're not sure exactly the grand nature of all of this. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing some planning. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank you, Jen. I know there's a couple things in the chat. Let's get through. There's only a couple more slides. Let's get through them. And I promise you, we will make sure everyone's question gets answered. Loyola Academy.
I'm Melissa Crine at Loyola. So we, like everyone else, are still in the planning phase. We sent out a survey to seniors, which got probably the best, quickest reaction response I've ever gotten from a survey. So the kids have a lot of opinions. I met with a small parent committee just before this, so I'm still processing their feedback. But our seniors have definitely said they also want a formal event. We're going to go through with small groups. The one piece that we're looking at that's a little different than what we've heard so far is they're really excited about having laser tag in our cafeteria and basement. We had it for a different event and like last year, and it worked really well, and we think we can do it safely for at least one of the groups because we think we'll have two groups going through the school at the same time, so a group would choose that or choose the other option. Ours is seniors only. We've only ever had seniors at our prom. But we won't have anyone outside of the seniors, and they definitely want food. We're gonna figure out dancing because we're doing a freshman dance in a couple weeks, which is just dance, so they're all facing forward. So I'm gonna figure out what works with them and adapt that with the seniors. And then we generally make a video of their 4 years, and so they want that as kind of their culminating piece before they leave campus. So that's where we are, but like everyone else, we're still very much in the planning phases.
I think a perfect example of is laser tag. I'm trying to see. I love that your kids want to do laser tag. I think I would be looking for a job the next day if I suggested laser tag. But listen, that is why we ask our seniors what they want. That's awesome. I'm skipping quickly over Maine East. He could not be with us. Joaquin could not be with us tonight. New Trier.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Stacy Kolak from New Trier. I do not supervise prom directly, but I did reach out to the folks who do supervise that at our school, and they shared this information. So I think, again, same like everyone else, we are in the planning phases. We're looking at a May date for that this year, seniors only. And of course, looking to call it something different than prom, just to sort of emphasize that different experience and not have that prom expectation that's prom experience. Certainly doing an outdoor event of some kind with multiple tents. I think a lot of the ideas that we were already talking about earlier tonight, we're probably going to be implementing some of those as well. And disposable cameras seem to be really popular this year. So that is something that they're looking at giving out at check-in as well for the kids. I think if I remember correctly, they were saying that the goal is to have kids on campus for about an hour. And so in different stages or phases to have them check in. So that is where we are right now with our planning.
Awesome. Thank you, Stacy. Last but not least, Vernon Hills High School.
Hello. So again, we're in the planning phases. So we are calling ours the Senior Masquerade Event, and we're using our creative VH in there to spell event. So we do know how to spell, but that was part of trying to be creative. And as people have been talking about, like surveying the seniors, they are students, and you love them, but they're also like, you survey them and like you ask them questions, and the one time they're saying one thing and then all of a sudden they've changed their mind. So we are calling ours the Senior Masquerade Event. And then just literally today they're like, we think we need, after talking to our friends, we need the word prom to be in there. I'm like, okay, because they said people were confused on what they can wear, and if they're confused about what they can wear, then they're not going to want to come. We're like, well, it says attire formal because that's what you said you guys wanted. But anyways, so we'll probably be updating this little flyer, and it'll say Senior Masquerade Prom Event. So we are also just doing seniors, and our seniors were okay with that. So again, talking to your kids about what they like. We're doing 1 hour time slots. We are also doing a sign up genius, so that the sign up goes live for everybody to sign up at this, like everybody had the opportunity to sign up at the same time. And we've sent this out already so that they know the date is April 24th. And again, that was our date originally. So we wanted to stick with that just because we have a lot less conflicts on that date because of it. Therefore, we are staying inside for ours. And again, talking to our kids, they wanted a 1 hour event. And basically we did purchase some red carpets, and we've tried a bunch of different things, but we're going to purchase some we purchased some red carpets. The plan is for them to come into the building. They're going to go into our West Gym, which we're transforming it, and we're doing groups of 50 as of right now. So we're transforming our West Gym into kind of like the idea that we stole from Ashley, the Instagram, we're calling it the Instagram Masquerade Museum, which is basically we're converting the West Gym with drapery, and we'll still have music and stuff with dance party DJs doing that whole setup for us. And then we're ordering balloons. Normally we don't spend a lot of money on decorations because, our DJ with the lighting and the and everything else, it seems to be the best. But with the less, we're not really saying there is no dancing, but they're in this space for a half an hour, and there's going to be a couple different of those Instagram balloon looking things. We plan to have one station that they're going to, because they're going to get like their ticket, if you will, to the next space. And we're going to have like our step and repeat up. So basically a bunch of different photo spots. And again, still work in progress. So one of the things that we want them to do is have to go to different stations to pick things up. And we're having them pick up gloves possibly, because then when they go to the next space, they may have to, the next space is called the Instagram Mind Reading Station, and that's with Joe Diamond. And we're working out the details of that as well. So our plan for the gloves would that if they need to use a computer, then we don't have to worry as much about wiping everything down. And we are, then those kids would rotate out, and the next group of 50 would come in as they're going and rotating it through. And again, if we can adjust those group sizes, we may adjust it to 75, but probably not much more than that, because the way we've got it set it up right now is for about 50 seniors each. So yeah, work in progress, but glad to be here with everybody and collaborating, because it's good to balance things and hear what other people are doing. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Deb. Appreciate it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. I'm going to make sure to take a look here in the chat to see if we got to first everyone's questions that were on here. Patricia, did you get everything you wanted to know about the Instagram Museum now that Debbie has talked about it too?
Yes, that was helpful. Thank you.
Good, awesome. And then Kevin, I saw that you had the rock decorating. I think Lisa kind of answered it in there. You okay? Anything you want to know? I can't see if you said anything. Unmute yourself if you will need to ask something else about that. So what's happening at your schools? Does anybody want to share anything? Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask? Want to know more information about?
I'll just add to something that opened up a lot of our planning was moving our date. I know some schedules, especially in May, is really locked in. But given that summer sports, I guess at that season, summer season would be happening, it really just allowed us to feel more comfortable moving to an outdoor event, knowing that we pushed our date back. I mean, we pushed it back by 3 weeks. So if that's an option on your calendar, I would check it out now, just because it is giving us a lot more security in what we're doing.
I think one of the most important things when I shocked our new athletic director was like, I need this building on this date. And I didn't ask. So really partnering and communicating with your athletic director so that you know that you have the facilities that you can use. And no, don't just ask for one night. You're going to want to know the night before as well so that you can decorate. I think one of the things that we're going to be branching out into is asking parents in our community to be a part of that plan once we know what that plan looks like, because we want it to look magical. And I think that's what our kids really wanted to know is, will we still have nice decorations? And so that's something I hope that we can enlist our parents in doing the night before.
Hi, I would just add a couple things we've learned along the way. Permits for an outdoor event might be necessary. That was kind of news to me. Given that we're sort of in a residential environment, we're at New Trier. So we have to secure permits from the township in order to have music, tents. If food was a whole different permit option, which I don't think we're going to pursue, but I think that's something to think about if you're outside. And then the other thing that we're sort of struggling with is are we going to eliminate party buses, limousines, and all of that? And then how does that impact sort of the flow of drop off, pickup, students driving, parents dropping off, and all of those logistics? So if anyone has suggestions or ideas about that, I'd love to hear them.
We actually got rid of party buses 3 years ago. And we used to bus our kids downtown for prom. And we found that just by giving them like places to park specifically would probably be the best way to do it, especially with the multi-stage prom. But it really wasn't as big of a problem. We didn't even let them on our campus at all for pickup. And there was really no difference. We just had extra people outside helping direct traffic so that nobody got hit because they weren't paying attention. So it's not the worst thing to change out of.
Party buses are a problem during pandemic years and not in non-pandemic years. Kind of like right now, like how do you stop that? Like, and especially right now.
I think you could make it way less cool to be dropped off on a party bus if you don't have a turnaround space. You come in, you park, you stay. And if you are in a group vehicle, you got to get out of that sidewalk and walk yourself to the front. So I think that would take away the cool factor of getting out, because now you're essentially like walking from the train station in our case, because we will not have a turnaround space. We truly, like Melissa said, we've got it like color coded who's arriving where and in what waves. So then that when they leave, it's very structured. We're building a website for prom this year, which we've never done before, to be more communicative about this, because everything is changing and we want people to know. And we also need to just get this message out in a really consistent way. But if you can cut back the cool factor, that might help.
I have a question. Wondering what you were all thinking about ticket sales. I've heard a lot about seniors only, no guest. Some schools are doing juniors and seniors, so still only your students. But I had this idea that we would only sell single tickets and that you are responsible for buying your own ticket and that's it. Because it's only our students and our seniors, you buy your ticket if you're coming and that's it. Is anybody else decided upon that or thought about that?
Lisa, that's what we're doing. I'm working with our business office to set that up in our web store right now so that they can't buy for anybody else. And then we will run the list of who all has purchased tickets and then refund any like juniors or other grade levels that might have purchased a ticket, and then only let seniors in. I didn't want them to have to like risk bringing in somebody else too.
My schools are doing seniors, but if their date is a underclassmen, it's fine. They cannot bring anyone outside of the building, including alumni, especially if they're on a college campus. It just opens the door. So anyone within our two schools, so within the district, they are allowed to bring anyone as a guest that's within the district, but the senior is the one purchasing the ticket. We haven't done the ticketing setup yet with our business office, but that's our plan right now.
Anyone else?
So we've
These-
used, go ahead, Debbie.
I was just saying, we're doing the same as you, Lisa. It's just our seniors. We don't like Libertyville. I see you Libertyville people on here. No, I'm just kidding. We've just kind of really had to like try to focus on like, this is the time for you guys as a senior class to come together. The class of 2021. This is like your moment. You're all coming together. We've just tried to make this senior celebration so that, because originally they did say, can we bring guests? And, we're like, well, we're limited to 50. So now if you want your group of friends, but they're all bringing different guests and kind of the logistics of how that looked and how it was going to extend the evening with rotating through groups of 50 in our stations. So they eventually were like, you know what, this is a time for like the class of 2021, even though sadly they won't all be together, but it's their night. So
I agree with Debbie, and we have we will look at marketing it as come with your friends, buy a single ticket, and we've used 5-Star in the past to sell tickets. And so we were looking at a similar option. We've had to use bus signups before to travel downtown, and kind of the same thing with signing up for a time slot. People were talking about staggering time slots. We thought we would start at 2:00 and open like 2:00, 2:33, 3:30, or 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is once we figure it out. And then if we need to open another slot, we would add an additional one once ticket sales start happening. And then we can account for having the 45 students there and not having like a group of, 5 at several time slots throughout the day.
To answer Andrea's question, we looked at a junior senior. We have a junior senior prom. We looked at moving to senior only, and we didn't know how to do that because our juniors plan prom, and that was just something we were like, those seniors have lost a prom, juniors haven't yet. We didn't want to have to do that to them. One way we are bypassing that is we're running kind of like everyone's talking about these time slots. We're running 3 different areas that are identical through our school. So what we found is we found different pathways that kids are able to follow that don't overlap. So if you can run identical experiences concurrently, we just have a little bit of like, it's a 15-minute staggered start. That's how we got around that without cutting kids out.
Is there any school out there who traditionally has had a junior senior prom and has elected to just do seniors this year? And if so, how has that been communicated with the juniors?
I can tell you at our place, I'm at Andrew High School. We are traditionally a junior, senior, and but we haven't communicated it out yet that this is what we're looking to do. I think, and I'm new to the position, but I think that it's a lot of senior only for us anyway.
Tim, I would agree with you too. Like ours has always been open to juniors and seniors, but our seniors have always traditionally been like, no, this is our event. But kids will come if they are invited by a senior. And we've always tried to get them to not do that. Like we're like, no, juniors, you can come. They're like, no, the seniors said we can't. So we have always had it open to juniors and seniors, but ours has traditionally been the seniors and their guests.
And I think that, as my friend just texted me, Gardner, giving me grief, and we are calling it a senior celebration. And we are trying to get away from the word prom a little bit, and that will help with that a little bit, we think.
Yeah, Tim, we tried to get rid of the word prom, kind of like what Debbie said too, and my kids wouldn't have that. So it's a prom-like event.
Prom 2.0.
Yes.
Right. I think they're really set on wanting a prom. They just have to realize it's not going to look like what they're used to, what has been tradition.
I think the word prom to them is dress up. I think that's the part that I'm looking at this as. And when they talk about it, they just want to be able to dress up at something. And so that's, we're trying to figure out, do they want a fun or do they want to dress up? And we're going to be eventually asking the kids that. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, the feedback we've gotten at Lamont, we've got, typically it's a junior, senior, but they invite, guests from either graduates or other schools or even underclassmen. This year it'll be limited to juniors and seniors by us, but one of the big sticking points that our seniors had is that a lot of our juniors plan prom every year, typically. And last year, that junior class that's now seniors had this idea of what would be happening. And they really just have a couple real nasty sticking points. And one is they want to dress up because they all bought dresses for last year's event and they have them still. And so if it's something that you're still trying to consider or toss around, definitely make sure you at least consider those kids. And then I think the other thing was they want, they do just want to get together. I think if you have to eliminate a class and letting it just be seniors, I think the juniors will be a little bummed, but they'll get it. I think at the end of the day, they realize that those folks were robbed of their junior senior event last year too. And if it means that it can happen safely, it seems like most kids are able to get over that kind of thing in our experience anyway.
Susan, I saw your question in there. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of our stuff hasn't been advertised yet. We're collecting information from kids. I think that a lot of people are going to have to probably change some things. Maybe some will get better and some they might have to cut back or whatever it is, depending on what kind of event you're planning. But I mean, I can't speak for everyone on this board, but knowing all these activities directors, none of us are going to do something that our county health departments wouldn't allow. And it's just kind of like right now working with, I mean, that's one of the things that it says on our survey that Lisa and I are going to send out, is that just so you know, we're asking what your things that are most important to you, but also please know we have multiple restrictions that we might be under. So just kind of bear with us. Like, we're going to try and give you everything that you want, but just know we don't know what we can do yet. And I think that's one of the reasons why if you noticed or not, Lisa and I's kind of slide wasn't just had some ideas and stuff on it, because we were both kind of hoping, wait, maybe some more information will come out, then we can plan a little bit more. Maybe more information will come out, then we can plan a little bit more.
And Susan, like Brian said, we're just kind of waiting for more and more information, but our district is working to create, we just started it yesterday, actually, a proposal to do Page County Health. And we're tiering our levels of prom and graduation and submitting that to them. Our goal is to submit that early next week so that we can actually really announce what we're doing. We're listing our mitigation plans, like how are we going to end up contact tracing? Are we taking temperatures? How do we know who's there? That kind of thing for each tier level in case it gets more restrictive, or even if it opens up more, then how do we adjust our plans? So we are starting that process right now.
Hey, if nothing else, you know what I feel really good about, that we're all sort of in the same, hey, we're starting this. You know, there's a whole lot of,
For real.
yeah. You
Absolutely.
know, it's
So
it's a little bit at ease.
Well, and I know Anthony from Dance Party DJs is on. I think something that helped solidify our vision was sitting down and talking to our vendors and our DJs and being like, I have never asked you these kinds of questions, but what have you got? I've never even gone down this road with you, but like, please, what do you have kind of in your warehouse that is something I've never seen? Because we're looking at our building and saying, I don't want the kids to know it's the gym. And how do we do that? So I don't know if Anthony has anything he wants to add, because I know that helped us a lot, because I didn't know what I was missing out on.
Yeah, I mean, I could just kind of attest to all the schools that we've been talking to. We've just been throwing tons of ideas at them and seeing, you know, some schools are interested in certain things. And obviously a lot of that depends on if you're indoors versus outdoors. All of that could change. But yeah, just getting extremely creative, because what we're used to with the big crowds and the big dancing and the huge sound system and the focal point of the event is really not what we're going for this time. So it's really unique. But I would say though, you know, from a vendor perspective, I know you guys are still, everyone's kind of still in the planning phases, but from our end of things, in terms of scheduling, you know, I would, you know, for vendors, I mean, not just us, but really anyone you're using, whether it be other entertainment companies or, you know, food service or whatever, having a date, you know, solidifying a date is super important to us, because we're basically like 2 months, you know, 2 months from this all happening. So in order for us to staff correctly and do our logistics and everything, having solid dates in the calendar, even if you don't really know what it's going to be yet, is super important on our end, just because I know a lot of you don't really know what it's going to be yet, but at least if you know when it's going to be, you kind of start to let your vendors know. And I'm anticipating a lot of these schools being on the exact same couple of Saturdays in September or in May. So, you know, the earlier you can get to the couple of the vendors, the better. And as you kind of go for more and different things, you're going to find that the number of vendors that have those things kind of go down, whether that be tent companies, whether that be certain type of rides, whether that be decor. You know, as this gets more extravagant and more unique, there's less of us available that have the stuff, as opposed to just finding somebody with a basic sound system playing music. So just some things to consider, like the logistics end of things. I know no one really knows where, you know, your health department stands or anything like that, but at least give your vendors a call and at least kind of tell them as soon as you figure out the date. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate that. Patrick, I saw that you just put in there. I don't know. I can speak for myself at Highland Park. I'm guessing that it's going to be a yes for us, that we are going to, we haven't, that's not set in stone yet, but that's what we require. If you come to our building for any reason, you have to be on our, right now we're doing that U of I shield test. So I'm guessing that will still have to continue, or at least doing some sort of that, or the pre-screening or temperature. So there'll be something. But I don't necessarily know if it's going to be like you have to have a negative test result, but I'm sure there will be some sort of continued procedure. Wait, I just saw, sorry, test 20 hours before. Wow. Okay. You know, and then sometimes like Carmel High School is a private high school, right? Isn't Carmel private? You know, sometimes they can do those kind of things. That's interesting.
Yes, hi. Yes, Carmel's private. I'm the principal of Regina Dominican. So this was a Catholic schools principals meeting, and they said because they're a testing center, they got special permission from the county to have this large number of people, and so they're going to have everybody tested in advance. I personally, it's giving me nightmares to think about that plan. They're just having a regular indoor prom for hundreds of people. Like
that's
wow.
crazy. We also have tests on campus, and our answer is, good God, no.
Right.
No.
Well,
my
welcome to
rationale
private high
for
school.
my rationale for no testing is we're not doing anything that we wouldn't do during a regular school day, following all of those same rules. So this isn't like a up the ante situation for us.
What are some other things that are popping up for any of you, or anything you'd like to know? We usually like to try and end by 9 o'clock, so I want to respect that space.
I just had one more thought, and maybe it's people can kind of let us know, let me know where you fall on this side of things. I know a couple folks are moving their prom later, so it can be warmer, so it can be outdoors. One of the things we can't control, right? We can control what happens when the students are with us or where we go, but what happens at that like super spreader lake house thing that happens after the prom, so to speak. And I don't know if there's a lot of merit at that. Our graduation happens right before Memorial Day, for instance. And so do we have it the weekend after or on a Tuesday night that next week when we don't need to worry about what those like high school graduates do? I get we don't have the same kind of, discipline, outcomes, but we also still have, because we're likely going to do it in a public place in town, we'll have, law enforcement there too. So I think is that something that's, yeah, Debbie, totally like that, the sport thing too, like that time of year, it's I think we're back. I think we're actually doing spring sports at that point. Are we there yet? In June?
Fall sports.
Right.
Summer
right.
sports then.
I think they go into like June. Like we'll be done.
June
with
19th,
school,
I think.
and sports will still be going. AP exams. I'm never gonna get a
Right.
summer. It's not happening.
It's never gonna end.
It's gonna be like just like last year. Do I cancel prom? No. Do I cancel? Do I keep it? Do I cancel? Do I keep it? Oh, look, it's now June. No, now maybe July. Okay.
Yeah, I worry about the whole contact tracing that takes place from the kid that got sick, and it's like AP testing week. You know what I mean? And so those are the kinds of things that I'm kind of putting in the back of our mind as our committee meets and determines some of these big decisions as well. Because even though it's not our event, it's what happens after and the other implications that come from an event like prom. So just another thought or two on that.
And I think a lot of us have thought about that. Highland Park and Deerfield always have their graduation outdoors. It's the same week every year, May 20 something. It falls at the same time. I have underneath my graduation gown worn shorts and a t-shirt because it's literally so hot outside. And I've worn long underwear, a North Face jacket, gloves, and then the following, like each year, it's amazing what can happen the week of May 20 something. Like it's crazy. I've had to run out to Walmart to buy hand warmers for our staff because it was so cold. You just never know. That is the tricky part. So the answer to your question is yes. All right, just to please, a couple of things as we end. Know that the exec board here is always hearing those schools in that presentation. If you go on our website, you can always find us. If you ever need anything, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. Also, please just remember, I always like to end with this, like you're doing enough. And so please, the whole goal of this is not to go, oh my gosh, I have to do what Deerfield's doing. I have to do what Vernon Hills is doing. That's not the goal of what we put this. We need you to get ideas and do what you can do for your school. So, and also I want to tell everybody, like, the simpler we keep it, the less finger pointing and look what they're doing happens. So I'm just throwing that out there. And we all kind of talk about that, exec board members together. Like, if you need help, reach out. We totally understand this is going to be stressful. And good luck. And we're here if you need anything. We have 2 more TNTs left. March 16th. And you can register for that. And that is going to be a fun trivia night. So come on out, like, let's just have some fun. And then the last one is going to be our awards night, where we celebrate nominees and people from principals to activities directors to sponsors. And you can still nominate, right? Can we still nominate? I'm just the president. Don't ask me things. You can still nominate, and that's on our website. And you can still, please, somebody help me as I talk really slowly right now. You can still nominate up until the 8th. March 8th. You can do up. Thank you to my exec board members helping me out here. You can nominate up, so it's not much time left, but you can still nominate someone, and we will do that. And that is on April 6th. You do not need to register for that because if somebody wins and they wanted to invite their mom, I know getting my mom to get on FaceTime is hard enough. And I didn't want to have to make anyone have to get their mom to register on Zoom. So all you need to do is click on the link and you will be there. And that's peace and love to moms out there. I love my mom, but boy, she would never be able to register on Zoom. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We so appreciate it. Recording and everything will be out tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, I think.